Welcome to the Seahawks podcast on a Halloween night. A little trick or treat for y'all, the 12s, the flock out there. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. I am joined by my very good buddy, Mr. Adam Emmert. Adam, what's your favorite Halloween candy? And yeah, that's it. Let's start there. What's your favorite?
Favorite Halloween candy is going to be Almond Joy, and that's going to disgust about half the people out there. Tough break. That's okay. But I'm really impressed with my costume this year. I dressed it up like an asshole, and it really came together.
You really tied the room together. You did a nice job.
Yeah.
So Almond Joy, I do like them, but I just would really wish in the fun size they would do a Mounds, the dark chocolate, but give me an almond. Just put the two together. Stuff could be two things. I don't need just dark chocolate without the almond. I want dark chocolate with the almond. And these people say, well, then just go get a Hershey bar with almond. Well, Hershey bars don't have coconuts, Adam. So
that's right.
This is stupid. Just put these things together and give it to us in fun size. I don't know why we can't have these things.
Why? Because clearly the universe would end if we put the almonds in the Mounds, which the title Mounds makes more sense to have the almond in because it would have the mound in the middle, but that's all right. Yeah.
It would have a mound. All right. Well, we're going to be talking, there's no segue here. Happy Halloween, everybody. We're going to be talking about the Seahawks rookies. We are still just coming out of the bye week as we get ready for the Commanders. And we got a kind of a two for Tuesday, although on a Friday night for Halloween, we're doing a rookie roundup. We're going to examine the draft class, and we'll talk about, maybe some missed opportunities or, hey, who's overperforming, underperforming, and we'll go into all the rookies. We got some cool graphics to look at. And then stick around for the second half of the show where we do a live Blue Friday bets where our picks, props, parlays, predictions for Seahawks at Commanders. We'll do that live as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Adam, are you ready to dig in?
Oh, buddy, I can't wait. I've been looking forward to talking about the rookies here at roughly the halfway point for a minute. We all have busy weeks and all that. Yeah. So it's cool to be able to sit down and do it with you here. And I know that you have been asking the flock a little bit about their opinions on the rookies in terms of a poll as well.
I have. Let's get right to that. So we put this out on YouTube. There's a couple more out there since this one went live as well. But almost 800 votes, just basically saying who's the most impactful Seahawks rookie. Not a big surprise here, man. 8 out of 10 flockers agree. Gray Zabel running away with it. But in the comments, there were lots of folks that were like, hey, I chose Gray, but even worries are really starting to creep up in the rearview mirror, which I think is really promising, Adam.
Absolutely. The rise of Eamon Warrior over the last few starts has been really, really enjoyable to watch. I also think that when Oots comes back and is more integrated back into the offense, that could change some of the dynamics here as well. And then actually I have some thoughts on the Horton situation to this point also. And these numbers could be very fluid as we look forward. And I don't think it's because any one of these guys is going to all of a sudden start to stink. I don't think Gray Zabel is going to start to immediately stink somehow and people are going to leapfrog him. It's going to be because all of them start to really contribute even more than they have to this point.
Yeah, I agree. The nice part, look, it's a pretty fun class, and we're going to go through the impact of the 5 or 6 players that are really having an impact so far. But the part that you're getting at too, I know we're not going to go into too many Seahawks notes for now, but Oots is looking like he's going to play. Kupp all of a sudden has a bit of a heel/hamstring injury. So we're the two dudes on the board right here, okay, Oots looks like he'll be back as they're saying he's going to play. And then, man, if there's no Kupp, well, let's goose that Horton, man. Let's get Horton with several catches. So those rookies might be really, really evident in the game that we're going to cover in the second half of this show, Adam. So I'm fired up about that, dude.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great time here. And I'm looking forward to some of your opinions on this. What I do feel for the HHG here, though, I can't eat it. I'm guessing a coconut.
Yeah, can't, won't, don't. Yeah,
I'm guessing coconut allergy here, and that's a thing. And that's a bummer because it's delicious.
Yeah, and Sham saying the heck an almond, which I love the way that's spelled. I'm not sure if it's just you're talking into it or you don't know how to spell, but either way, I think it's very fun. I like that you got the grammar right. The on is there, and then the almond is really kind of funny. Not funny, very, very serious. but also awesome. The $9.99 super chat from Ryan911 saying, "Go Hawks." Excited to hear how great Zabel has been. Yeah, we'll dive into some of that. Hey, Ryan, you're the best, man. We appreciate you. And just saying hi to some others too. Top Water saying, is that tap or top? I can't see.
It's top.
Top. Okay, that's what I thought. Top Water says, "Go Hawks." And of course, we got Dogzilla Monster, a member out on YouTube. He hangs out in our Discord too. Go Hawks. And it says, "It's Dogzilla from the." So everybody's saying hello. And then Ryan saying, "Iman just needs more games by the end of the year. He might take the top spot." So yeah, man, he absolutely might. Keep the comments coming. We'll do our best to get them up as we talk about these rookies who have been cooking. So all right, I think it'd be smart to look at the draft class as a whole. We had a lot of picks, Adam. You, me, and Brandon. We had the pick of the litter because we were hanging out at the Clearwater Casino over on the west side of Puget Sound, which was so much fun with the Earl Thomas and the whole thing already. And shout out to the whole team at the casino that hooked us up. That was a ton of fun. This was a fun draft class. We actually had more picks going in, made some trades, but 30,000 foot view before we look at the individuals who are having an impact. What's your thoughts on the overall draft class thus far, seeing as we're literally a half a season into the first year for these dudes?
I think there's probably some nits to pick along the way, but with that said, literally drafting a guard in the first round and just getting a guy in there that can play right there, that makes this draft a home run because it's been needed for over a decade. And so it was time for that. And then you start looking at the majority of the top draft picks on the top side of the board here, and they've all contributed in some way, shape, or form to some degree. And I think that's exciting. Now, maybe on the back half, you're not getting a lot of production out of guys that were picked in the 6th and the 7th and the 7th and the 7th. But how often do those guys ever actually contribute to a team? It's not very often.
I want my 6th and 7th to hit for the 6-7 out there. But look, you're right though. They don't hit all that often. However, to me, it is a little disappointing when, one of the guys gets just outright cut. That's fine. Cable Dew in Richmond does seemingly nowhere near sniffing the field at this point, even though we have a clear deficiency at right guard. That's a little disappointing because we do see teams all the time drafted in the 5th, 6th, 7th round that will pull an offensive lineman and they are in and they play well. And I'll give you one example. The New York Football Giants got a tackle, Armand Membu, in the 5th round when I thought he could go 2nd or 3rd round, completely slips, and the dude's been a baller. So it does happen. It would be really cool if some of that back end is valuable in years to come. And right now it looks a little light, but top heavy, I think it is, man. So that's my quick breakdown. But others are saying, Dan's saying 4 to 5 starters, not bad at all. And he was saying earlier might be a really solid one. So and a couple others too. Top Water saying good rookie draft, in my opinion. I think it's hard to argue that this is not at least a good rookie class. Still has some upside. Obviously, we're 8 games in, has tremendous upside. There might even be like blue chip upside, and there just might be dudes who are just good quality starters for years to come, which that's how you build good teams, Adam.
1,000%. And it's been a tale of as old as time that you build through the draft. And if you can get 2 to 3 starters out of every draft, you're kind of crushing it as a GM. In terms of blue chip guys, in general, you only get those in the top 15 picks usually. And so without a top 15 pick, I'd have to say, based on an extremely limited sample size of a whopping 7 games, this has been a really good start.
Good start. Amy giving me all the warnings. Thank you, Amy, saying, don't look now. There's something on your head. Amy, I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you very much. All right, so Let us start then with our first pick. So 18th overall, remember North Dakota State, of course. And some folks with little consternation, I don't think not you, at the end of the, 8 weeks in, Adam, here's the deal for me with Gray Zabel. Do I think he's playing? Do I think he's playing at a Pro Bowl level? No, I do not. Does he get overpowered sometimes at parts of the game? Yes, he does. Is his athleticism off the chart? And you could see him really, really working the stretch and getting to the second level consistently with great athleticism and awesome on the pins and pulls and stuff. Yeah, man. And then the proof in the pudding on screen there, Adam, is simply that through 8 weeks, Seattle's been a top 10 pass pro team, and the offense is running well. I mean, just looking versus last year to this year, the major change I think is on screen right here.
I'll tell you what, you tell me that the Seahawks have a top 10 pass protection offensive line. It gives me the vapors. Like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, it's so exciting to actually have that come to fruition here, and give Benton a lot of credit and give Kubiak a lot of credit for putting in a system that works well to actually accentuate offensive linemen instead of putting them in the worst position possible at all times. And then good coaching by Benton on the little things. In kind of your overall perspective on Zabel in terms of his play to this point, I think is pretty spot on. You're right. Not playing at a Pro Bowl level to this point. Okay. Right. But is he playing very capable starting guard level football? Absolutely. And you're right. The one thing he struggled the most with coming into the league from a smaller school is the size of the players and the strength. Is that, of all the things in the world that are correctable, that is one that you can literally effort your way into. You can go into the weight room. You can lift heavy things for an entire offseason for the first time in your life, being focused on football, and you can make up for that. And you pointed out his athleticism, and that's really been what has shined on the tape when he's really getting the best of the defenders that he's trying to waylay. And it's been really cool to watch him work in tandem with Sundell and Cross. I think he does an excellent job. He's doing a good job picking up stunts for the most part. Now, a lot of his wins aren't pretty wins. Like, they're not textbook. Like, he can get beat now and then, but still manages to recover oftentimes. And look, as a rookie through your first half of your first season ever in the NFL, that's pretty darn good. That is showing the awareness to be able to come back and fix your mistakes while you're going through the play. And it shows your athleticism and that you belong in this league, even if you did come from a small school. And look, would I like Gray Zabel to have come out of the draft and be a road grader and a future Hall of Famer after just a few games of his first season? Absolutely. You know what guys do that? Guys picked in the top 5.
Sometimes. Yeah.
And that's only sometimes,
not
right?
Always. Not at all always, right?
Yeah. In every draft, there's only consensus-wise around the league, 12 to 15 players usually each draft that people consider like blue chip prospects. And I think you got a guy that's going to show that he's at least a very solid red chip prospect by the end of this year. And I'm fired up for where he's at in his development and where they're going at this point. It's been a breath of fresh air.
One of the things you said that reminded me of our conversation that was after the draft with Coach Derek of All 22, who we had on recently as well. Go check that out. Just hit our YouTube. You'll see the thumb with All 22 on their films. Coach DC is great. Another great episode. But the conversation we had then, we were evaluating the pick. He said, look, like sometimes he might get beat. He actually may get beat on the first. He's very quick, but let's say he's a little out of position off the jump. And with that, he's so athletic that he can battle back and get to a draw on other plays that like 98% of NFL offensive linemen, if they don't win the first like half second, it's a loss. And he said it's such a weapon for him that he's so athletic that he can get back into a scrap and then hold his own. And in a time-based offense like this, where Darnold is getting the ball out of his hands quickly, and you gave credit to Benton, and you gave credit to Darnold, which was exactly where it should be distributed. This is not just a rah-rah for Zabel, but it's good enough sometimes. It's good enough a lot of times, in fact, where if he could just get a draw, Darnold's getting it out in time. And by the way, this is us talking about like the negatives. This is like us going to kind of going to negative town.
Yeah.
And it's really the smaller portion of the play. Most of it is good, and then there's some very, very good. And as the season wears on, and as I think we hopefully do mature the run game a bit more, that's where I'll be looking to see, can Zabel go from fairly good to quite good rookie season to be like, he really helped us take a step change. I think it's already happening, but man, if we could run the ball more consistently too, to go along with the pass pro that's, now top 10, watch out. This is a good team. So I think, I'm not sure I'm not sure we're doing grades, nothing like that, but I think we're both very, very happy.
You want to do grades?
Sure. Let's do grades. Why
All
not?
right. 1 to 42. Where do you have him?
1 to 42.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I care about grades, but
yeah. Okay. I don't really care about grades either, but it's a good, solid pick. It was a huge need. And now the team is decidedly better because we have him. Fair?
Absolutely. Decidedly better. And the most exciting thing that Zabel brings with his play, in my opinion, is the attitude. He has mean offensive lineman attitude, and he's out there just smoking people to the, past the echo of the whistle, as Coach Mike would say. And that's one of the biggest things that you need out of your offensive lineman, is to have that kind of, just grit and determination and a little mean streak in him. And even though when he gets off the field, he can put on a Mariners jersey here. I think that's a Mariners jersey, right?
It is.
From
That's
from the
City-
year
City
1812 or so. Is that when the last time that they put those on? But and then he looks like a very handsome and nice man when he steps off the field. So that it's pretty cool. I'm really fired up about the pick, and I think it's difficult to get after John Schneider about this pick in any way.
Anything you'd want to see from him or the offensive line as we get into basically half 2 of the season?
I would say that if they can figure out which of the different run schemes that they want to lean into the heaviest, in the ones that they have the most success with, which is exactly what the buy's for, is that self-scouting, and kind of lean into that and see if they can take some of those 1 or 2 yard loss runs and turn those into a yard gain or 2 yard gain. And I think that really does. I'm not looking for a bunch more explosives. They have a lot of explosive runs.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for keeping us ahead of schedule in all of that. And I think that right there would be the biggest difference in jumpstarting this run game.
I think Dan, a YouTube member out there, has it nailed. Said Zabel needs to be in the next Brawny commercial. I think you're right. This guy's he is the Brawny man, right? So throw a flannel on top of that, and away we go. And we got Jason Turner saying, "Happy Halloween, go Hawks!" Hey, Jason, happy Halloween. And the HHG told us, "Hey, it's the nuts he's allergic to." So sorry, dude.
Nuts.
That stinks because nuts are delicious. But sorry, you're allergic. That sucks. I've got an allergy as well to something that I won't announce publicly because I don't need people knowing my business. But all right, so second round, I think we had 3 picks going into the second round. I believe that's what we had. We do a bundle, we trade up, and I think it's with the Titans to get to 35. They slide back, and we get a player in Nick Imawari who is billed as a safety, Adam, and this is somebody that Mike McDonald said outright that they were thinking about at 18. So the day ends, they go to bed, they wake up, and then like pick 33, 34, they're like, man, he's still sitting there. We think we got a dance partner. When we were sitting at Clearwater Casino, I will own up to it. I did not like the move. I didn't like giving up the capital. I didn't like the player that much. And the reason, before I pass it to you, dude, was the stuff I was looking at was him playing basically deep safety. He didn't always play deep safety, but when he was playing in more of a deep safety position, I didn't think he was that great of a downfield tackler when he had to travel a long distance. I thought his angles were okay, and I thought he was missing tackles too often for a guy that is, the second coming of Cam Chancellor. And so I was not into this pick. And before I pass it to you, I could just at least say, here's the baton, Adam. I think I was dead wrong about not liking this pick.
It's been interesting to see his evolution in a very short period of time, because I think one thing that if you watched him during his days at South Carolina, as you're projecting, you're really looking at him and being like, this is going to be a guy that needs to play more down in the box. And as you pointed out, they had him playing a lot of deep stuff, which didn't accentuate his positives. But with that said, he's winning awards for like conference awards for his play while he was there at SC.
Yep.
So it's not like he was a bum. But I think one of the things that does get concerning is when you see a guy go to the combine, test off the charts, and then his draft grade goes off the charts. And I think that's when I looked at the pick right out of the gate, that was the one thing that worried me a little bit. But he's come in, they put him down closer to the line of scrimmage, have him playing a lot of nickel, and you can see the speed and change of direction and the sure tackling rather than maybe being a thumper. And I want to put to bed the next Cam Chancellor stuff. Nick Eamon is not the next Cam Chancellor. Like, don't get it twisted. All right, they have the same height and weight on their bio. Cool. Their games aren't the same. Look, he is much shiftier, has a better change of direction, and I think is going to be better overall in coverage throughout his career than Cam was. But Cam was a thumper. He'd come down and he would change games by absolutely destroying people and scare the holy piss out of the opposing offense. I don't think that's Eamon Warrior. He's a good tackler, and he tackles with force, but he's not Cam Chancellor. He's not blowing people up that way. And so I think if everybody wants to be excited about Eamon Warrior going forward, trying to compare him to Cam is going to kill a little bit of your joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. And first off, Cam might be my favorite Seahawk of all time. Like, really. So to say anybody is on the same level as him or could be is a little blasphemy to begin with for me. But that's my thoughts on it.
Well, and Cam changed the game a decade plus ago with Pete Carroll, and then all these NFL teams were chasing a Cam type, and it turns out there's not that many Cams out there, right? So with Eamon Warrior, you do have the size, and he is more athletic than Cam Chancellor. Like, he just is. He could run faster, jump higher, and he could break on things quicker too. We saw that on 3 in 3 out when we covered Eamon Warrior's amazing play where everybody kind of stays home, and then he hits the middle of the field and he deflects a pass for Nico Collins from Stroud. It's that type of athleticism play, like raw freak type stuff, actually wasn't what Chancellor was doing. But like you said, Chancellor was literally like removing people's spleens, or figuratively. Just ask Vernon Davis, right? He had a couple bad days. They could be very different. Stuff could be two things. And yeah, Eamon Warrior is for me, we talk about Zabel being like, okay, I don't, maybe there's not Pro Bowl, All Pro there. Maybe there is eventually a Pro Bowler. We'll see how it all goes. But it's not like out of the gate, like, oh my gosh, I see blue chip talent just dripping off this guy. Eamon Warrior, I do. There are those flashes of like, oh my gosh, this guy has All Pro ceiling. So I'll eat all the crow. I was wrong. The way that they're using him is delightful. And when we get into, nickel, and he's in the big nickel, and he's really a de facto linebacker down there, he is playing some good football, man. So I'm excited. You juxtapose that versus the slowness we're about to go see with the Commanders over the middle. Okay, fine. Give me Eamon Warrior every single day of the week. We got to recognize Godzilla Hawk, one of our great flockers, also hangs out in the Discord as a YouTube member out here. A $20 on the super chat saying, happy Halloween, flockers. Amazing. Nick Eamon Warrior is already showing Bam Bam Cam's skills. I like the way he phrased that too. He's not saying he's Bam Bam, but the skills to pay the bills are there.
Yeah, if you want to say he's got some of the same skill sets and there's some overlap there, I'm all for that. And honestly, with a $20 donation, I'm the one who's wrong. So you're right. He's the next Bam Bam Cam, and I'm an idiot. So
and then after he heard our take, he goes, fine.
I'm the wrong one. I'm the wrong one.
Yeah, it's all good. Hey, Godzilla Hawk, that's awesome. Happy Halloween to you as well. All right, so I think we talked, I wouldn't say enough about Eamon Warrior, but I think enough about Eamon Warrior. I'll say exactly that. All right, so let's move on. So we're still in round 2. I forget sometimes, man, that Arroyo 50th, 5-0, man. Hawaii 5-0. This is a high pick. And so Elijah Arroyo, tight end, University of Miami, Cam Ward's best friend, absolutely helped Cam Ward get drafted first overall, and vice versa. Cam Ward and that system absolutely helped Arroyo get drafted 50th overall. Stats are on the screen. I don't think stats tell the entire story. I'll pass it to you first, because I think this is probably going to be one that has maybe the deepest discussion so far. What are you feeling about Arroyo, the pick? What do you want to say?
Well, let's take the conversation about the pick in maybe other options at that point. And well, let's put that on the side. And let's just look at what Arroyo has brought to the table in terms of his play to this point. And he's been in there. He's been the guy that I think helps threaten defenses in that 12 personnel in the pass game. And he's come up with some big grabs. And, you know, you always hear the phrase willing blocker, and you're always like, oh, so you mean he stinks. And that's what you think. But with that said, I think he actually is a willing blocker. I see him trying his ass off out there in making small strides as he goes. But the interesting thing is that in 12 personnel, when they got the 2 tight ends on the field, instead of having him block a lot of times, they'll have him run towards route towards the sideline so that he draws a defender out of the box, which is kind of like blocking, because you're actually eliminating a dude out of the scheme in the run game at that point. So there's a lot more that you feel like is there for Arroyo going forward and kind of scratching the surface. I think seeing him on the field and against NFL talent at this point, there was a lot of talk about the idea of him being like a big X and getting him outside,
big slot,
and
big
doing
slot,
that.
Right. Yeah.
No, he's not he's not that guy. He doesn't have that kind of speed, but I think he's on his way to being a very solid contributor as a quality pass catching option in your offense.
So I think those are all, really well said. I love, we got Golden Hawk here. So this is, of course, this is Brandon. So saying, save us the Noah Fant contract. And that's correct. So I think it all sussed out real nicely, because I think he's more talented than Noah Fant really at any point. And then we save all that money and could put the chips elsewhere. So I think it's a solid take. And Ryan saying, I think Arroyo has been fine. He's done what he's been asked to do, which is a bit of what you were getting at too. And here's my take. And I did not like our second round last year. I didn't like the trade. I wasn't in love with Imawari. I did not like the Arroyo pick. There's reasons for that. I'll go to the negative first, but then I'll whip it back to where I am impressed and where I may be wrong again. I didn't like the Arroyo pick because I was like, well, there's dudes like Oronde Gadsden and who's lighting it up with the Chargers. There's dudes like Gunnar Helm, who on a bad Titans team has 19 receptions and is just outperforming Arroyo so far. There was other tight ends that got picked in the fourth, fifth round that I was like, ooh, to me, they're pretty much the same dude. And this fascination with the big slot for like, oh, we're going to have an X who could run nines. He's going to be a big X, but he's a tight end, but he's a hybrid wide receiver. I'm just so over that. It's like dudes like Isaiah Likely. It's like, yeah, he's sort of nice.
Kyle Pitts.
And Kyle Pitts is sort of nice sometimes. Kyle Pitts doesn't have the hands Arroyo does, by the way. Arroyo, I'll say the pauses we'll just rotate to it in a second. I just don't like the fascination of, we need the big X tight end that he's going to supplant. He'll be like wide receiver 3. It's like, no, they're not fast enough. They don't have the agility that wide receivers have. And the NFL, to me, it just doesn't translate as people, as I think the league thinks it does. So that part is, I think I'm still there mentally with that. The other part though for Arroyo is, look, just like we're looking at Zabel being like, what has happened to the whole group? It's like, okay, we think Zabel's been good and the whole group has been drastically uplifted. And yes, it could be partly scheme, et cetera, et cetera. Well, when we're in 12 and 13 personnel, we are exceptional. And he is he's tight end 2. So just on the surface of that being a true fact, I can't be all that mad at this pick. Like, he's out there quite a bit. Now, Salbert's hurt. So Arroyo, so it won't be a lot of 13. Maybe Russell sticks around. Oots will be back. So we'll see what they do there. So Arroyo is looking to be, probably even more involved against the Commanders, or at least as much involved as he has been to date. The other part of Arroyo's game that I really like is he has surprised me with his contested catch ability. I think he's been good in several situations, like down the sideline, balls where Sam Darnold's showing immediate trust with him, being like, okay, you're open for half a second and you're 6'5", I'll throw it to you. I'll give you a shot. And I think he's rewarding Sam so far. So Where I didn't love it because there was other players. You and I talked about this, and Brandon as well. Like, look, man, we would have loved to bite at Tate Ratledge. We would have loved to bite at Jared Wilson, and we would have loved. The Patriots took Will Campbell and then Jared Wilson, right? First round, third round. They're both starting. They're both playing good football. I would have preferred that, but that's water under the bridge. For me, where I thought Arroyo was, I think he's actually outperforming things, Adam.
It's interesting because, I mean, you can compare him to some of the other tight ends drafted. And for me, like, if we're going to get to the draft pick itself and the process,
right,
this is where I think if you have a nit to pick with the draft, this would be it. Because Tate Ratledge was on the board, dude.
Oh, like, and Jared Wilson.
Yeah, just as you said. And so you look at those guys, Booker, Zabel, Ratledge, the top guys, they're all playing at a similar level, which is pretty good. And I do believe having that other right guard come in and stabilize that position right out of the gate, I think that would have had a bigger impact on this season. Now, does that mean going forward that Arroyo doesn't blossom into a top 3 tight end? I don't know. Maybe he does. And he's really an electric receiver that is threatening defenses that scares the pants off of DCs. And then you go and you get that right guard replacement going into next year. And maybe that's the thought process for John, because you got to pick what you're going to do first and what you're going to do second. I would always choose to go in the trenches first, but I sit in the woods and prognosticate about football, and John Schneider is a GM. So there's that. But with that said, I think as a whole, you can't be disappointed with the pick despite wanting maybe a different position.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So we'll see what half 2 looks like. And, great commentary here, like Ryan saying with Barner, I don't know how great we need him to be. And that's true. Point. And, Godzilla Hawk saying Barner's better. Yes. And by the way, in the preseason, there was all this buzz about Arroyo and nobody was talking about Barner. And I would just be out on Twitter being like, like, oh, Arroyo, like fantasy football, draft Arroyo. I'm like, guys, he's tight end 2. He's not even close to tight end 1. Barner was legit good last year, and Barner is legit good this year. Barner is your consummate inline tight end that can do all things. Highly, highly valuable. Arroyo, like you said, willing and a bit more the stretchy field guy. And, when we talked to Max Toscano about this, he really follows tight ends. He's like, look, but he didn't love the pick, but he's like, but I understand that they want the composition. They want the dudes who can do different things. So when they're in 12 and 13, you're getting the looks you want against the defense. And that's cool. So let's see that mature as the year goes on. Jason also saying Arroyo needs a year to get stronger so he could hold on to the ball after the catch. I mean, he had 1 fumble. That's okay. We don't want him fumbling anything, but he had 1 fumble. I'm not gonna kill him for that, but I understand. And the strength thing, I think he's plenty strong. I just think, it's. I don't see him being a dude who's going to end up being like a 70 reception guy, and it's like, oh my gosh, he's the next Kelsey. I just don't. Very few are. I don't see that in the future. Can he be like a role-playing solid tight end that's really complementary to what we want to go do? I think the answer is he can be, but it's a little TBD, Adam.
It is, and we'll see how it goes. But I do think in the past game there is enough upside there to be excited about him as like kind of an Antonio Gates type or something like that in the future. And so
maybe
this point, I think you have to say, because honestly, like draft grades, right? Like they kind of frustrate me because what draft grades should be is just pass fail. Like, I mean, the guy can't play, and Arroyo can play.
Yeah.
And I think this is a pass.
And it's 8 games in. So the only fair way to do it is pass, fail, pass. Right. So he passes. Yeah. And we got Benji asking, Membu was first round. I would say Marcus Mbo. So if I said it wrong, then I apologize. But the Giants, who took him as a tackle in the fifth round, and he has been highly.
Oh, those are 2 different guys?
Marcus Mbo, I think. I'm not sure Membu.
Oh, okay.
I think we might be talking about 2 different dudes. Yeah, I think.
Okay, cool. I just didn't know. So
that's all right. All good. All right. So we march on, and then we took the biggest, no risk it, no biscuit talk about a scene missing here. We don't really know what to think of this so far. But for those listening, Jalen Milroe, QB, of course, out of Alabama. Third round, 92nd overall pick. And, I'm not putting up those regular season stats to troll because they say literally 0, 0, 0, 0. It's actually not the whole story. When he's gotten into the game in these trick plays that Kubiak has put on with him until he took him off the field, essentially, he caused 2 turnovers. So not the start that I thought Milroe might have. I wasn't enamored with the pick. Going back to like the feelings of the day, it was like, okay, maybe. I think it's a fine lottery scratcher. And then when I started to get excited about, well, I do think they could use him as like even a hyped up Taysom Hill, that got me going at him. But I was not expecting them to put him in at like the 45-yard line in the middle of a drive when Sam Darnold is throwing the rock really well.
I mean, that's kind of what they do with Taysom Hill. It's not just the goal line with him.
I just want
They throw him in all the time. I always hated the idea, never wanted to see it. And I can say that I was suddenly correct. Don't do that. Don't break the flow of the offense. And then not only that, but then you take Milroe out there and he's got to come in cold, run an offensive play as a rookie. He's done it a whole 2 times now. It hasn't gone well. I think what's interesting is that I think some people will see that and think, oh my goodness, what a waste of a pick. The guy stinks. It's a terrible situation to put him in like that.
Yeah, we don't know any of that yet at all.
Because here's the thing. You said, at the time of the draft, you weren't real fired up about this pick. I still fucking love this pick. and I will tell, look, this guy has all the talent in the world to become a high quality NFL starter. In fact, if we're talking about things that we were wrong about Clinton, you talked about being a little wrong possibly on Eamon and Arroyo. I said early in the season that I genuinely believed that when we got to this point in the season, we were going to be having serious discussions of, is it Milroe time over top of Sam Darnold? Because I just couldn't believe that a guy who has stunk his entire freaking career had somehow flipped a switch in Minnesota and then was going to take that to another team with lesser weapons, with an offensive coordinator who's way less proven, and not only duplicate it, but be better than that. So I was wrong on that to this point. We will see how that is going forward. But I still strongly believe that Jalen Milroe is the future of this team when it comes to quarterback. And the fact that Darnold is playing well enough to keep him off of the field this year and hopefully even next year, that is the best situation humanly possible for Jalen Milroe. Just like Jordan Love, who I loved coming out of the draft, but needed some time to get it together. He got that time sitting behind Aaron. Jalen's getting this time sitting behind Darnold. And this is going to be a pick that we look at 5 years from now and be elated about. This guy can ball. He's going to be good. It's going to take some time. And it's actually all going according to plan. And hats off to John Schneider and crew for making it happen to this point.
And maybe one of the nice things too, in retrospect, it's like we didn't love the turnovers. They certainly hurt us, the Milroe plays. But maybe, the fact that they happened and they are out of the way and now he gets time to just sit back there and he's, not dressing, but he's getting all the time in practice and we're still 5-2 at the bye week. Maybe that was for the better. It's just like, okay, I think kind of what you're saying is like, okay, you tried it, hated it. Thanks. Hated it. You hated it from Jump Street. I was enticed by it. Didn't work out, but not too much of a harm seeing that they were 5-2 and now he gets time to just sit back there and learn. So,
and not only that,
yeah,
but it's a 3rd round pick. It's a 3rd round pick. We're not talking about like taking a guy like Caleb number 1 or even JJ as high as he went, right? Who's had a hard time even getting on the field because his body isn't cooperating. Like, we didn't have to put that sort of investment in a guy who can get to that level of quarterback play. That's a 3rd round flyer. And we get to let him sit and develop and all that because there's not as much pressure. It's so perfect. It's so perfect.
Yeah. He's going to get the time he needs. We like that. And then we got a player coming up right here from CSU we want to talk about, Mr. Torrey Horton, the wide receiver, of course. And, we're saying there's third round flyers, and we're like, hey man, I really wish we could have gotten a different offensive tackle. And I'm sitting there at the Clearwater Casino banging my hands being like, man, there's all these beautiful wide receivers like Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll and Jack Besh and all these people coming off the board, and I'm grinding my hands. And then somehow, some way, Torrey Horton falls to us at the 166th overall pick. And Adam, I'll say these two things. Look, okay, 9 receptions on the year, 113 yards. Okay, that's not huge. 3 touchdowns is great. But the graphic right below the receiving stats that we have to put in for Horton is he's 3rd in the league on punt return average, and he leads the league in punt return yards. So this rookie from CSU is one of your favorites coming out. What have you seen so far?
I've seen a lot of the things that Torrey Horton does. And I think that the punt return stuff showed up on his tape at CSU, and that's been a nice addition to the team. And I've seen him make some big plays already, and I've seen him score 3 times. That's pretty cool as well. But what I've also seen is that we have an offense that has a clear wide receiver number 1, and then we have 2 wide receivers number 3. That's what we have to this point. If you think that Kupp has played to a wide receiver number 2 level to this point in the season, you're delusional. Like, he hasn't been. He's looked like that complimentary number 3 guy that you get to the ball to maybe twice a game. And they've kind of done the same thing with Horton to this point as well with the targets. And I think coming out of the bye, we got to see one of these 2 players step up and become wide receiver number 2. And if I were to bet on that situation, I'd put it on Torrey Horton. I like what I see out of his game to this point. He belongs in the league. I like his length. And I know he didn't come down with a couple of those deep balls here in the last couple of weeks. Highly, highly, highly contested catches.
Agreed.
That maybe Megatron makes on the regular. But at this point, I like where Torrey is in his development, especially for a 5th-round pick coming off an ACL. He's looked pretty good. My only complaint with Torrey Horton to this point, Clinton, and I think this would be something that you would agree with because I think you've come up with it, is he looks like a baby giraffe running around out there when he's trying to return punts. So, but I'm still fired up about this pick. I still believe that by the end of the year, he's going to emerge as WR2.
Well, I think the really intriguing part is that we might not have to wait very long, in the sense that we play the Commanders Sunday night. We're live Friday, right? So for those who might be listening later, in 2 short days at this time, we'll be watching Seahawks at Commanders. And if you get a report with a veteran with Kupp that he's got a heel problem, and then it was like, okay, it's like a heel thing, and then the next day it's like, oh, it's actually it's a hamstring too. That's just not training the right way for a veteran to be playing football on Sunday. It's just not, right? Now, might he? Sure, he might. Is it okay if he has to take a week or 2 off and it's soft tissue thing, and maybe hopefully that's it and he's healthy for the rest of the year? Fine. That's totally cool. In that vacuum, though, Adam, I think this is Torrey Horton's time, man. I just do. Because there's only so many times. I mean, look, you're going to spam JSN, and you are going to spam JSN against the Commanders. By the way, stick around. The second half of the show, we're going to go through picks, parlays, and as a little bit of foreshadowing, some of us are leaning into the JSN props this week, but they're going to spam the crap out of JSN. With that, there's still a ceiling to that, 12 attempts, 13 targets, something like that. All right. You've got your 2 tight ends with Barnett and Arroyo. Okay. But you can't just throw the ball underneath the whole time either. Adam, I don't know, dude. I think the Torrey Horton show might be starting at about this time in 48 hours.
Exactly. You talk about Kupp and the injuries. He hasn't had a healthy season in 4 years. So
yeah, I know. Right.
Why would we expect him older to have a full healthy season? He's been great in the blocking game. He's contributed a little bit in the passing game, and it's looked good. But if he can't get on the field and it opens the door for Torrey Horton, I genuinely believe in my heart of hearts with Horton's skill set that Kupp's going to have a hard time seeing the field for the rest of the year as WR2.
So we got Ryan saying, I think Cooper Kupp has WR2 locked up for the season. And So Ryan, here's
I mean,
where
if he played at a WR2 level, I might agree.
Well,
but
here's
I
where
haven't seen it.
Here's where I am with Ryan. If he's healthy, I think he will remain that dude. And I think, well, my take is that your take is that you undervalue Cup's contribution. Now I get volume wise, and Devonta Smith he is not, and Jordan Addison he is not.
He's not even T. Higgins, who's not good.
T. Higgins is good. T. Higgins is
I've
good.
never seen him play a good football game. Not once.
Then you have only watched him play maybe a handful of times. T. Higgins is good.
I know it's the Bengals. Why would I waste my life?
Look, he's no Christian Kirk, all right. or Wan'Dale Robinson.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
But look, he's good. But he also has Jamar Chase drawing a lot of attention, right? So either way, we're not talking about T. Higgins. But Cup's contribution has been solid. We've covered him with his route running. He's obviously still a really skilled blocker. They get in those condensed formations quite a bit, and he's kind of a de facto tight end. That's how much they could trust him. Or they could go with 12 personnel with Cup, and it's kind of like they're in 13 anyway. So he's been real. I think he's been a very, very big benefit to this team. I mean, the numbers are what they are. They're fine, but I think his contribution's well beyond just those numbers. With that, I'm still with you, dude, that Torrey Horton can emerge as number 2. I just think it comes with the opportunity. And again, Sunday night at this point, I do not expect Cooper Kupp to be on that field. I just don't, with those two things racking up. So look, if Horton can get, I don't know, 6 to 8 targets his way, let's see what the young man can do. It'll be a lot of fun. But again, going back to the purpose of this, I think you and this is a clear pass, big time contributor, 4 touchdowns on the year already, and a lot of upside still.
Absolutely. And look, for Ryan here, I just hate Cup. True. My sports hate for him has not gone away. It hasn't softened. And the numbers aren't good. They're below average. His blocking's been good. But I think for the money that you're paying the guy, I think it's been a below average.
Who cares though? Honestly, that part of the conversation.
I care.
Why? We're under cap anyway. Like that part of the conversation, I think,
pay
is
a guard.
Please,
instead of freaking Cup.
Please. I'm
Old
so
man
into
Cup.
that. I look cool. I'm so into that. But then John Schneider, then go get a different guard. And by the way, we're under the cap. You can do both. So whether you overpay Cup for a year or two, it's fine, because again, maybe it's things that JSN's also learning from Cup, and and others are learning from Cup on how to be a professional and really, really care for how you block in the run game. And I think those things are really, really valuable. And we're under the cap. If we were suffering from cap casualties and stuff like that, that argument I think is valid, but we're not. So it just doesn't matter, in my opinion.
I think it massively matters. It's just a waste. It's just a waste.
But we have
I don't
money
understand
right
it for
now.
the dude cannot separate. He has zero separation in his game.
Okay, but there are plays where he still is getting wide open now because it's schemed well and he's running he's running the route crisply. Okay. So he's a professional wide receiver, man, with good hands, who has caught tough third down catches over and over again in tight bread box windows. Credit to Sam for putting it there. But these are catches where it's under a linebacker's arm and it's on him in 2 seconds, where other dudes are dropping those, and he's been sure-handed. So I will defend Cooper Kupp until he proves me otherwise, man. So I just think
I think he already did. He's already proved it.
He's proved that he's a good wide receiver still.
He's not good. He's not good. He is delightfully below average.
Oh, God, he's not below average. All right, let's move on.
There's no debating that he's still at least an average receiver. There's not.
We're going to move on. We're not going to solve it now anyway. He might not be playing Sunday.
Right.
So, look, the injury things are real.
Breaks my heart.
He's older and he's been injured a lot. The team is way worse without him, though. It's worse. We are a worse offense without Cooper Kupp. We're worse in totality. In totality. So that's my
by a factor of at best like 2%.
I was gonna say 1.2.
Boo-hoo. I don't want him
factor.
to be injured though. I hope he gets healthy again quickly or isn't hurt that badly and all that. Like I don't want him to be in pain or anything like that. It's sports hate. It's not hate against the man person.
Oh, I know that. We know this. And
well, I know. I'm just letting the
letting the world know
who listen.
Brandon saying could have paid Fries. He's been pretty crappy, right? So all good. All right, so we got Robbie Oots, of course, now are also out of Alabama. He was, remember folks, he was a tight end coming out of Alabama, and Brandon did a great job. I forget who the guest was. So Brandon, if you remember who the guest was, you probably do, who covered Alabama, and you talked about, you brought him up because the guest was like, no, like he's not going to get drafted. And the Seahawks kind of shocked the world here because this was like a UDFA guy that most people were pegging. 5th round, 175th overall. They say, no, we think we see a really big 273-pound fullback who, oh, by the way, actually has good hands and is quite athletic for his size. His name's Robbie Oots. He's pretty delightful. We get him back this week. Adam.
If you're not fired up for the return of Robbie Oots, like you're dead inside because what he did early on in the season in just lighting guys up, coming out of the backfield and playing traditional smash mouth fullback, cram it down your throat, nothing you can do about it type ball. I mean, it was just a work of art. I love it. I love his style. I love the swagger he brings. I love the physicality. I love the black face paint on the picture you put up here. It's scary. I wouldn't want to see that dude screaming through the hole at me at 280 pounds, like looking to just smash you and steal your soul. I really think that with Oots returning and Saubert, let's say, with his injury, you're going to see a lot more fullback on the field.
Yes.
And it's going to be a boon to this offense. And I think this will be the thing that takes those little small negative runs and turns them into small positive runs that jumpstarts this running game. It's going to be Robbie Oots. And I think when we were talking about the poll earlier, was Zabel far and away pulling away from it. I think after the next 6 weeks, we're going to be looking at that and being like, maybe Oots is every bit as impactful, if not more.
Yeah, I'm delighted by the pick. I was very intrigued by the pick, and I understood the vision, right? So I was right away like, okay, I get it. And knowing what Kubiak is and what he wants to go do, and the rumors were that this was kind of like a Kubiak special, that he was like really being like, dude, get me my fullback. Either that or go pay a free agent. And go, there's not that many of them out there. You know, it's not like you don't got to break the bank for them, but go get me a veteran. And I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't go pay some fullback $4 million a year or something like that when Oots is sitting there, complete value, a starter, and just the identity, man. Like we talk about, I love how you framed it because you and Brandon talked about this in the flagship, and I think you're exactly right. Maybe even in What If with Mr. Phil. By the way, good job filling in, guys. Appreciate that. It was very fun. That you talked about, like, look, it's not so much about more explosives from the run game. And the reason you laid out was because we don't need more explosives. Yes, they're nice. They're nice to have. But we are chock full of explosives. We're handling that and then some. It's taking the -1, -2 rushing yard plays that are, tantamount to a sack, basically. And they certainly grind things down to a halt. They get you into 2nd and 12, and then all of a sudden you got to throw 2 times to try to get out of that. It's difficult. And instead of it being a -2 yard play, maybe it's even a +1 or a +2. And while that might not sound sexy, that 3 to 4 yard delta is freaking huge in the NFL. So I thought you nailed that topic. And I love the fact that you're saying getting this chess piece back, Adam, is kind of exactly what might tilt that. And oh, by the way, maybe it does also bust open 1 or 2 more for K9 along the way.
And that's just it. If the return of Robbie Oots makes it so that K9 can really take the stranglehold on the RB1 position, we start to balance out those carries the way that they should be, like 75-25 K9 to Sharps, then all of a sudden you're looking at this offense and thinking to yourself, my goodness, with the defense that we got over there, like, could we be an NFC championship team? Like, it really does take it to that level with kind of the wide openness of the NFC to begin with. and also the overall level and style of football that the Seahawks have played going into their bye week. It's hard not to see it a different way for me.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it's the type of football that wins as the earth gets colder, at least this part of the hemisphere. So this part of the, what do they call that? Not longitude, the other one.
Latitude.
Is it latitude? I don't know.
It's latitude.
It's latitude. Yeah, longitude's the other one. Okay. Yeah, latitude. All right, good. Above the equator, north of the equator. So it's getting colder. It's going to be November 1st tomorrow, and we're excited about that. J.O. saying K9 needs to take a game over. It would be nice, J.O. I mean, like, it would be super. I think we'd all be super into it. It's one of those, it's like he doesn't have to for us to win, but it sure would be nice if we had one of those games where it's like, oh, K9 was 14 for 92 with 2 touchdowns, and he was kind of the star. Adam, would that make your Sunday night feel real good?
Oh, I would be doing backflips. I'd be so happy because, look, I know it's tough to say that you go into any game in the NFL and say that it's an easy matchup, but I love this matchup for the Seahawks going into this week. So getting to the point of the Hawks losing to the Commies feels unbelievably unlikely. And so if they're going to win, which I think they're very much going to win, you stack a K9 fantastic performance on top of that. Yeah, now I'm doing backflips. Like that's going to be a lot of fun. And look, if Kupp is out for the game, then you do hope that the running backs get going a little bit more. And we may not see that for the entire season, the big running back takeover game, because we are seeing so many heavy boxes. Like, teams are playing us going, hey, we see you want to run the football. We know you want to go there. Beat us with Darnold and JSN, and we're going to come up and play really loaded boxes. And that's going to make it so that your running game isn't going to look like it's highly capable because of those heavy boxes. But with that said, just the act of doing it makes it so then Darnold and JSN have all the space in the world to just roast people. And that's what it's been to this point.
I think it's a nice rotation over to the second half of our show there, Adam. So we are going to do a live Blue Friday Bets. Stick around, folks, because if you've never watched Blue Friday Bets, it usually comes out on Fridays or Saturdays. It is a show where we focus on picks, parlays, props. We look at the lines. But Adam, it's just another way to look at the game and analyze what we think is going to happen. What can our Seahawks exploit? And when we watched Commanders, Kansas City, I saw Kansas City exploiting the crap out of the middle of the field with some wide open dudes, man.
Yeah. And they did it often. And look, and we'll talk about it more as we go through. But for those of you who are listening, we've got the Goose on the screen.
There he is.
What was our title for the Goose?
The Prophet Goose.
The Prophet Goose. That's what it was. Yeah. And so Prophet Goose is bringing you guys some golden eggs here.
Yeah, I love it. And again, if you've never watched Blue Friday Bets, it's a game within a game. It's a lot of fun. We're going to go through three downs and then a fail Mary down, so 4 total. The first 3 are $10 a bet, and you could take anything on the board. Doesn't matter what the odds are. We're just trying to win the bets, and we compete against each other week after week. $10 bets for the first 3. Fourth down is the fail Mary. It is the Sunday scratcher, the Sunday rubber. It's a $1 bet, but it must be plus 1,200 or longer odds to qualify, which means you bet $1, it's cashing at least a $12 return. That is to say, it's a heavy, heavy, heavy long shot, like the perfectly cromulent fail Mary that was a catch. So let's bring back to here. Adam, you won last week. Now it's 4-3. And we got to go tally the actual money, but it's 4-3, me versus you in weeks. All good. You won last week. You had a couple of nice bets, or a week before with the Texans. Been a long time now. So you're at the tee box. Bet number 1. Where are you taking us, bud?
All righty. Did we type these out of there on the screen, or should I pull them up here?
I got them right here.
Okay, very good. Because, all right, here we go. So first thing I want to do when I'm looking at bets each and every week for this Seahawks team is I'm looking for bets that I can bet on the Seahawks defense because it's outrageous. It's freaking amazing. And they've been killing people when they've been trying to run the football. And so I look at Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and being held to under 43.5 rush yards. That's a slam dunk for odds of -110, which is basically even odds.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day. That's a free bet. You might as well just chalk it up as a win right now.
All right. The only part that is, I think JCM's a pretty good back, and he's a rookie, and that's fine. And they run the ball okay. They run the ball okay. Clearly, they're a lot better, go figure, when Jaden Daniels is healthy. Now, he's playing. So Jaden Daniels came out today that he's in. He's going to start. Coming off of a hamstring of his own, how healthy will he be? I think the part that worries me about this bet is a healthy Daniels, when they get into the RPOs and do those things, it just makes it more difficult on the defense, period. And it creates opportunities for, JCM to compile his way to 47 yards where it doesn't feel like he's done a darn thing, but this busts. So that's my only warning on this one, Adam, is Daniels is going to play. He makes a difference.
So I agree with you. And obviously when Jaden's right, his legs are a absolute game changer.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Without question. He's coming off of weeks and weeks and weeks of trying to get a hamstring figured out.
Yep.
And if you're out there playing on your first game on your now newly healed hamstring, I don't see him being somebody that's going to be running the ball a crap ton in this game. So I think it's going to be hard for him to stretch the defense because he just won't do it very often. And at that point, is Bill here in Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Mr. Bill?
Yep.
Is he as good as Christian McCaffrey?
No.
No. Is he as good as even this year's Nick Chubb?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. And what did the Chubb do?
Very, very little. Next to nothing.
Yeah, jacking shit. And that's exactly what's going to happen this week, too. Bill being held to under 43.5 yards is going to get me some bills this week.
All right. Love it. All right. So that's bet one for Adam. So again, if you're new to Blue Friday bets, do better. What are you doing? This is fun, right? Okay. So my bet's on the screen now. Fun. It is fun. So I'm taking it to the streets, if you will. And look, Darnold's been very good. Something I've been having success with, whether it's Blue Friday bets or just some of the FanDuel stuff that I do, for whatever, $5 a pop, I've been winning a lot when I'm taking two things that Vegas says should happen and I smash them together to get to plus money. And then sometimes they do happen. So it's exactly my thing here. I'm going with Sam Darnold for over 230 yards passing and to be over 1.5 touchdowns, AKA to throw 2+ touchdowns. Gets me to a pretty nice plus 120, which I dig that. And the over-under for Sam was something like 245, about that. 240 something is what they expect for pass yards. I think he's going to go over that anyway against his Commanders team. So bringing that down a little bit, to me, it's a matter of, does he get a second touchdown or do we get like a Charbonnet day?
Love this bet for you. Hey, because the 230 passing yards, that's awfully low. I think the Seahawks probably score 3 to 4 TDs this week. And I think the only thing that could screw you is if, as you were saying, a lot of Sharp's goal line touches and he's punching it in, which is one of the things he's done very well this year.
Yes.
It gives Charbonnet credit for that. And he could vulture those. But at plus 120, I love the plus odds. I love the low yards number. 2 TDs isn't a ton.
No.
And I think, honestly, like whether it's Lattimore, Amos, or whoever you want to look at in the back end of that Commander's defense, not good. They're just not good. And the pass rush isn't great. And the linebackers can't cover. I think Darnold's going to have himself a field day this week. So this is a cool bet for you.
Very nice. Thank you. I do as well. We'll see. Again, the 2 touchdowns that's the one with the higher variance because you just never know. But like you said, I do think we're going to score as a team. I think we're going to score 3+ touchdowns, maybe even 4 touchdowns. And because the Commanders' defense is just not that good. The biggest factor for me is if you get Jaden Daniels drives that are 10, 12 play clock eating monsters. If you get that, doesn't matter. Screw up any game plan. The whole game's way different if you get, let's say, 2 of those. Even if it only gets to be 6 points, 2 field goals, but they eat, a quarter away in 2 drives, this bet will be in jeopardy for all reasons at that point. All right, so bet 2 for you, though. Where do you want to take us?
Well, look, I haven't really bet on JSN this year.
I know, I'm scared. I don't know, Jim.
I don't know, Jim. I'm scared. Like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just like, this can't be sustainable. This can't be sustainable. Then I watched the Texans game. I've said it a few times on the pod now. When I saw that, I was like, oh, he just torched a really good secondary with a killer pass rush that is backing him up. He can't be stopped. So I'm going with JSN. I don't remember exactly what I was going with here because we took the bit off the screen.
Sorry. Yeah.
But,
Let's get back in. Hold on.
Yeah. So I'm going with JSN. Let's see if I can find it on my iPad here
I got
real
it,
quick. All right.
It's up there. Plus 110.
All
plus.
right. 110 plus. I think he's only had one game under 100, and it was like 96 yards or something like that, 97. He's been smoking it in. So this feels right in range for him. Plus 120 odds. I think he's going to eat the Commanders' lunch all day long. They don't have anybody who can cover him on the regular.
The funny part about this entire bet is that, 110 only pays 110 receiving yards and over only pays 122. That's the part that's like, okay, yes, Vegas is giving you a little bit of money, but that means Vegas expects him to be over 100. That's their expectation, which is, or like, right around 100 yards. And you said earlier, yeah, man. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times over 100, one time at 96, and then only the Cardinals game where he was held to set under 80, but he had that really big fourth quarter in that win. So he kind of exploded late. Remember, he was kind of not there in the first half, a different game.
I always forget about the Cardinals, and rightfully so. So that's why it wasn't.
And four times over 120. And oh, by the way, the last 3 games over Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, who people say has a good defense, and Houston, who actually has a good defense, right? So, all right, I'm into it. I like it. The risk is the fact that it's a big number, but it's JSN.
Yep.
And the Commanders are not very good on defense. And
do you think, Clinton, that there's a world in which you see them not do the spam JSN thing in this game, or do you go into the bye week as a coaching staff and be like, yeah, we're killing it at this. Why would we ever stop? Like, which way do you think? Because that's the one thing that scared me about this.
I mean, I think it's more the latter in the sense that, you could just sit there and watch 40-year-old Joe Flacco spam bot Jamar Chase to victories. Now, I'm not saying that's the way you win every week, but you could do it. You can do it. And in a game where you might not have Cup, look, man, he's on a special tear. I don't want to jinx anything, but he's on a special kind of trajectory. So yeah, I think you have to get the guy 10 to 13 targets. You have to. You owe it to the city of Seattle to, give him that many targets. And that's pretty much, you're in spam territory once you're like 12 targets for a receiver. So yes. All right. I'm on the JSN train too. Now, very different tactic. And we know the risk on this one is you have to do it. What's on the board, I'll explain it first, is it seems simple. This is why it's such a sucker bet, by the way. They're paying me plus 140. It's such a sucker bet. And I know it's a sucker bet, and I still get suckered into it. JSN just needs to get 5 receiving yards or more, but he's got to do it in every single quarter. But they'll give you 100 plus 140 on this, and it seems so easy. But very often there's a quarter that flies by in football for one reason or another where you had like 4 offensive plays. And it does happen. And that's the risk here. But by golly, Adam, 5 yards. What do you think?
The only thing I don't like about this bet is you have to hit 4 times. You got to hit in the first quarter, second quarter. Like that's the part that makes me nervous, man. But it is only 5 yards, and you feel like every quarter he should get at least 1 catch, one, and that's likely going to be over 5 yards. So there's a little pucker factor here, but plus 140 is a healthy number.
It's a sucker bet. Yeah. I know it's a sucker bet. Yeah. I hope it hits, but there's a reason it's plus 140 because it's for suckers like me. But I'm still into it, dude. 5 yards.
So
man.
So when this hits, you're gonna bet $10 and take home 14, like in profit.
Yeah. $24 back in pocket. So exactly, and 10 of that being my original. All right, so bet 3, you're up. Take us away.
All right, man. I don't like it when I start to feel very confident and cocky about certain games.
About you, yeah.
I felt it going into the Texans game, and Well, it just turned out to be exactly what I thought. And at this point, the confirmation that I'm getting from this team in terms of what the defense does in where the offense is and how consistent it's been at producing, going towards going to a stadium with a team that really has struggled all year and has kind of come back to earth in a defense that's not loaded with talent. That's even like Bobby Wagner, even being old as he is, like he raises the talent on that team quite a bit between him and Luvu, but it's just not there anymore because, he's 96 years old. I just don't see any part of this Texans or the Commanders offense or defense that I look at and go, there's an advantage for the commies. Just don't see it. It's just not there.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I don't think you said your bet yet. Have you said your bet yet?
No, and I was getting right there. So that's why I've got the Seahawks giving 6.5 points. So they have to win by 7 or more to get plus 151, because I think they're going to win by at least 2 scores in this game.
Look, I'm pretty confident about this game as well. Again, the Jaden Daniels dinking and dunking, and if his legs are healthy, which is a big if, fully understand that. But, I saw him last year win games that they had no business winning. And I'm not talking about the Hail Mary, the Hail Mary game of their own against Chicago. That was just ridiculous. I'm just talking about games where they were the lesser squad and they beat teams going away sometimes. Now, by the way, Terry McLaurin being out is a big deal. That's a huge loss for the Commanders. He is sensational and clutch, and he catches everything. And him being out really diminishes what they can do through the air. So that's very exciting for us. I have to me, this game is either some like really puckery tight for some reason, which could be a loss, by the way, if it is, or I think we win this game by 10. And in my heart of hearts, I'm not trying to be over cocky. I think we're a significantly better roster and well suited to shut them down and frustrate Daniels. Look, we don't need to generate pressure with 5. So we could drop 7 back, and if we have to play the spy game, if his legs are healthy, and we'll still get home with 4. Tunsil might play, might not play. We'll be checking on that later this week. But if not, if he is playing, he's dinged. If he's not playing, they have a second-year guy in there, and they got a rookie on the other side. I don't know. Good luck. So, heart of hearts.
Good night, Irene.
I think we win this game going away. I think so. Plus 151. I dig it. All right. Bet 3 for me. Adam, quick question. Do you own or even lease an abacus? Do you have an abacus?
I've never leased anything in my life because I have brain cells. But I have a fancier abacus. I have one that I type numbers into, then it spits numbers back at me.
Gotcha. All right. I'm just saying we may need an abacus or something for this bet. Yeah. It may look confusing on screen there, but I'll take you through it quickly. This is a bet. It's a bet against Commander's success and a bet for light Seahawks success. Let me explain it. So we got Jaden Daniels under 55 yards rushing. Okay. Under 55 rushing. Cool. Again, bum wheel. So let's see. I took his over under and I put it up, and then I took the under. Okay. Same for JCM. So Bill, Krosky Merritt. I need under 65.
Oh, they're going to kill Bill, dude. I love that
I need
part of your
under
bet.
65 yard rushing, right? So I took it, goosed it up, and then took the under. Similarly, I need K9 to go over 45 and Sharps to go over 28. Both of those, I took the Vegas number and I moved it down and then said, give me the over. So this is just I think our defense is good. I really goosed their rushing totals way up and then took the under. And I moved the Seahawks down slightly and took the over. But I get paid a very handsome plus 202. I like doubling my money while we succeed, Adam.
I'm so mad that you came up with this bet because it's so good. And here's why. Because I think in the coaching realm, we have the biggest advantage offensively when you compare Clint Kubiak. Boy, this is a quadruple K offensive coordinator. Clint Kubiak and Cliff Kingsbury.
All the case.
Like, Yeah, Kingsbury has regressed back to the mean after having a good year last year, getting lucky at converting 22 of 24 fourth downs last year, and having a electric young QB. And I love Kubiak in what he's been doing and what he's brought to the table at this point. It is sustainable. It is smart. It does not spread them out and fucking bubble screens all day like stupid Kingsbury. So to bet against the Commanders' offensive stars and then to bet on K9 and Sharps to do their thing to a minimum level.
Yes.
45 and 28 yards for K9 and Sharps for a whopping plus 202. You bet $10 and you get $20.20 back in your pocket. Like, how rich are you going to be after this week, Clinton? Because that's a great bet.
Well, can I tell you, I like money. I like money. So I do like this one. It's a fun one to get around. So I'm glad you do as well. All right, so we're up to the Fail Mary. Remember, it's $1, the Sunday scratcher, the Sunday rubber. It's got to be plus 1,200 or longer odds to qualify. I'll go first. My Fail Mary is banking on the fact that Cooper Kupp will not play in this game. I don't think he will. So ball's got to go somewhere. They're projecting Sam to throw 30 attempts. I think he's actually going to go over that. Also, I think he'll be more in the 32, 33 range in this game, just because I think it's going to be there, accessible, not because we have to, but because it's the most successful thing Kubiak could access over and over. So I think he'll know that and go there. So I need Barner to get 5+ receptions. It's a lot. And Arroyo to get 3. Basically combo those tight ends we talked about earlier in the program. I need 8 between the two of them, 5 and 3. And I'm getting plus 1250. Hey, it's a long shot, but ball's got to go somewhere.
This is a great bet too. I'm really frustrated with you this week because
this means I'm going to go 0 for 4. By the way, this is your putting
come up with some good stuff. I love it because Bobby Wagner, first ballot Hall of Famer,
yes,
without question. Seahawks legend, put him in the Ring of Honor already. I don't even care if he's retired or not. One of the best humans to ever human. On top of all that, still getting it done in the run game. He's having a tough time covering these guys over the middle of the field, and Barner to get 5+ receptions and Arroyo to get 3+. I could see them targeting those dudes over the middle of the field and wearing them out all day long. And there's not really much DQ can do about it at that point. And that gets you all the way up to a plus 1250 for your Fail Mary, which is frustrating because when I get to my Fail Mary, I can tell you why I ended up where I did. But good bet. I think this has a great shot of hitting for something that's plus 1,000 in odds.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. I hope so. It'd be a fun day if our tight ends are that involved. Now, I said in the Discord, which everybody out there, you should go to getintheflock.com, become a member, and for $3 a month or more, you could join our Discord. But I said, I think our tight ends are going to be a little bit mad, just a little pissed off at them, that they missed National Tight Ends Day. Like, how dare the NFL? How dare they do National Tight Ends Day and not invite AJ Barner to that, to that dance, bud?
That's true. That's messed up. It's almost as messed up as the prophet goose that you cooked and put on your head, because that can't be a turkey. Is that the prophet goose? Did you do that?
No comment. The only comment I'll say is yes, this is a turkey, people. But look, if it's the prophet goose and the Grand Poobah and all that jazz, and it works, we'll see what happens. By the way, yes, it's for Halloween, but if I go for 4 for 4, well, guess what? The prophet goose hat will be coming back. So, all right. So you're up on your Fail Mary. This one is careful. It's spicy, but if this happens, we'd have a very good day.
It's super spicy. So to whip out a few Clintonisms here, I goose this quite a bit. And so the prophet goose and I, we were in contact about this. And look, if you're gonna be a bear, be a grizzly, right? So go big or go home. So I got Darnold to have 4 TDs or more, and JSN for 10 receptions or more. So the Darnold bet was plus 890. The JSN 10 receptions or more was plus 329, and that got me to a magical plus 2,500, which is freaking huge. Now, the reason I ended up here, I was like, look, I believe that these two guys cannot be stopped by this defense. I genuinely believe it. So with that said, I tried a zillion different parlays to make this bet happen. Each time that I took one of them to the edge of where I was comfortable, it got me to plus 1,100. So just below the plus 1200 ratio that I was getting there, I had to goose it and get that extra TD for Sam to get over the plus 1200. But then that took me all the way up to plus 2500. And I said, screw it. Go big or go home. Be a Grizzly. And here we are.
It's fun. And the best part about this bet, I mean, for the, first of all, it's $1, but that's not the best part. The best part is just that this is the ultimate Discord cheer along, right? If we're sitting there Sunday night and, Sam's got 3 and there's like 6 minutes to go in the 4th and JSN's got 8 receptions. Again, we're probably very happy at that point in the game. We're having fun in the Discord. Everything's light and bubbly. But B, I think the entire Flocker world's going to be behind you on this one. So, man, I would love to be sitting there with 6 minutes to go being like, dude, let's see this fail Mary hit. It'll be a ton of fun to watch, dude. I mean, like at some point, Sam's going to have a game like this, right? It's just, okay, he hasn't yet. And it's been a little bit of like, okay, well, stop doing the cute stuff, Kubiak. Stop shooting ourselves in the foot. And, this is the type of defense that I think can be accessed this way. So, yeah, man. I mean, hey, why not us? Why not us, Adam, right?
Why not us? An extra week of preparation for the cubes. And I think he's going to just be licking his chops looking at the tape from the commies so far with their defensive play. And that's no shot at DQ. DQ's a great coach. It's just they were ahead of schedule last year, and
you were on that.
They're regressing back to the mean of a rebuilding team.
You were on that early, and I loved when you guys did What If. You called out folks who get really excited about doing the wins losses as soon as like the opponents even drop and then the schedule drops and okay you go through the win losses and I felt wounded is how I felt because because man I love doing that. It's like one of my favorite things. Like, all right, we gotta do the wins losses, and I always understand your point of view that like this is a stupid exercise because now the Colts are 7-1 and the Commanders are seemingly not that good. So this is a dumb exercise. Stop doing it. I won't stop doing it. I can't stop doing it. But I definitely understand your point of view, and you were spot on. That's like, hey, they will probably regress the way they won some games last year. 4th down passes down the sidelines, diving McLaurin. We mentioned the Hail Mary earlier against Chicago, which was just ridiculous. It didn't feel, it felt, the only reason it felt sustainable was because it was quarterback led and he is a special quarterback. So let's just hope he's not, Jaden Daniels of like week 10, 2024 on Sunday. Cause that could be a bad day for any team. That's how good his ceiling is. With that, sure. you were spot on, dude. Spot on about their regression. You spotted it coming and you were right. All right. We had a lot of fun. We got folks waving hellos, waving goodbyes. A snail checking in. We're about an hour and a half in, hour and 20 minutes, and the snail shows up. A great member for many, many months. I hope he's doing very, very well. All right, Adam. Any other bits before we get on out of here, dude?
Hey, man, all I was going to say is 2 things can be true at once. It can be super fun to do the exercise, and it can be super stupid at the same time, which is actually kind of the theme of everything I do in my real life. So stupid and fun. So I can't be mad at anybody for it. And, if you found some value in this show today, we really would love you to subscribe. It will heal Julian Love faster and get him on the field. So the more subs we get, the more likes we get. It's better for Julian Love, his whole Hakra, in his body. So if you want the defense to be even better, get after it. Do your part.
Amazing. Love that. And what a transition here. A segue. The snail, he might have came in late, Adam, but he didn't come in empty handed. He understands that this is Halloween. He came knocking on our door, and he brought the candy. 5 Seahawkers podcast memberships gifted. And all you got to do on YouTube is have your gifting turned on. If you don't know how to do that, just literally go Google how to turn on gifting for your YouTube, and it will show you how to do it. And the way you get gifted memberships, and by the way, Snail, that's awesome. Thank you. The way you get them is you like, you comment, you join live shows like this, comment when the show's over, you hype the video. Basically, the more interaction you do with our videos, the more likely the YouTube overlords are to give you a membership that's free. So, and the other thing we like to say is, hey, if you do snag a gifted membership, consider, gifting something forward or putting a little super chat in or something like that. It all helps. It helps us do a lot more coverage. So, which is great. We definitely want to thank Ryan911, our executive live producer. And we had Godzilla Hawk as well with a couple of really cool donations. And of course, we just thank Snail, but thank you, Snail, for doing that. Very, very kind of you, man. This is going to be a fun weekend. There's some great games. What I love about the Sunday setup and the fact that we have the Sunday night game, Adam, is that there's a banger of a game on at 4:25 also. We got Bills, Kansas City at 4:25. That game ends. You maybe have your dinner, whatever it might be. You crack your beer. Then you get a little bit of time to get ready and fired up for the Seahawks Commanders. And I think that little wave from a KC Bills game, that should be really good. Then you get a little buzz or something going on, and you get into Sunday night football mode. Seahawks at Commanders in the throwbacks, and let's go get that W in DC, buddy.
Man, primetime, Seahawks, smoking some commies, smoking some victory cigars when it's all said and done. It's going to be hard to have a better Sunday night, I'm telling you.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.